Hello, Smart Trips Live community. It's so good to see you. I'm Lonnie Stern. I'm with the Smart Trips Austin team. And today I'm very excited to have a special guest with us, Pamela Owens, who is the CEO of Six Square, has agreed to join us today. And Six Square is, one of our favorite organizations because we like to take a lot of trips within the Six Square district, but I don't want to take anything away and give away too much about Six Square yet. I wanted to start first by, welcoming you, Pam, to the show, and I'm excited to give people some more information about what is Six Square, what do you do? But first, who are you?
Thank you, Lonnie. Thanks for having me here. I can feel your energy already through the screen, and I love that. I think we've become fast friends already. My name is Pamela Benson Owens. I am the CEO of Six Square, and I'm not a native Austinite. I'm not allowed to say that I'm married to a native Austinite, but I'm not allowed to say that. But I've been here since I was a child. Did a lot of my formative growing up years on the East Side. So when I had the opportunity to come back and do some work with Six Square, it was just like returning back home. I'm a longtime entrepreneur as well in this community, and I'm just really excited to be on this show today.
So I know that you're from Milwaukee. How did you make this transition from all the way up north to south, and how are you handling the summers?
I have been handling the summers for a long time. Now when I go back to Milwaukee, my cousins are like, your blood is thin. What has occurred? You used to be able to tolerate this weather. But we got here by way of my dad's career, and most of our family has been here ever since. So I have really been able to be kind of embedded in the community, and am just thankful for all the opportunities that have come with that move way back then. And so I tolerate the summers well now, and actually have a struggle with not tolerating well the cold weather.
Well, yeah, I feel the same way. I've been here for over 20 years, and at some point you naturalize. You're part of Austin. And, I've lived on the East Side for a long while, so I'm really familiar with Six Square. And I'm hoping that you can share that knowledge, because not only not everybody who's watching today lives on the East Side, but also a lot of the people who are part of our community are here for maybe the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, and they don't really know the history of the district and of the city itself. So could you give a little snapshot of what's Six Square and what's the mission, and what are you all trying to do?
Absolutely. So in order to be able to anchor the conversation, the starting point for Six Square, which is the Austin's Black Cultural Arts District, started as a result of the 1928 plan from the city. This master plan basically said that Black residents were to live within a 6 square mile radius boundary. And so that is known respectfully as the East Side. And with that came, if you move to the East Side, there's a promise of all the resources and all of the support that you need. But really what occurred was you got to the East Side and those things were not available. And so the construct that has resonated for years, and the residue of it still stands, is not only are you going to live in this 6 square miles, we're not going to really provide resources. And so if you can imagine, as the community around that 6 square miles continued to flourish and grow and economic development occurred, the East Side was not the recipient of a lot of those resources. And so what you see today is still that overhang of that. Now there's this piece around people discovering the amazing culture of the East Side and starting to move and live in the East Side. But one of the things that we are really committed to doing is to make sure that we honor the past and the heritage and the culture and preserve that, all while all of this growth is going around. So we focus a lot on education, preservation, heritage. We focus a lot on economic development. And the way we do that is by supporting Black culture in all of its forms: art, small businesses, education. And we do that in a kind of a holistic approach, advocacy. So you will see us in a variety of different aspects of the culture, uplifting it, removing barriers, giving voice to, and educating about the history.
Well, when you live on the East Side, you start to really unpack everything that's been going on. You learn the history because maybe you live close to a historic place, and that leads to some questions. I know that Six Square has regularly provided programming, not just on your own, but also as part of other things, like when the East Austin Studio Tour happens. There's usually programming that is involved there as well. And I was hoping that you might be able to walk us through some of the things that we see here. So we've got, again, the 6 square mile district that is served by your group. And we've highlighted a few places here. And I think on the next slide, there's some additional photos to kind of walk us through. So this first stop might be familiar to people, but it's Huston-Tillotson University. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. And interestingly that you say that, I'm meeting more people that don't know about Huston-Tillotson. They don't even know we have an HBCU in this city. I had a woman say to me one day, hey, I went to UT and I didn't leave. And I didn't realize until the last 2 years that Huston-Tillotson even existed. What? Come on. Like, wow. Such an opportunity. You had a staycation, come take a tour with 6 Square and let's educate you. So HT is a HBCU, and it's the oldest university in Austin. You think it's UT? It is not. It's HT. And so HT is just, and I have had the opportunity to be on that campus the last several years doing some work alongside an amazing President Colette Pierce Burnett. And if you haven't gone to visit, go visit. And if you're worried about rolling to the campus to visit, go anyway. It is a beautiful campus. The students are brilliant. And I'm going to tell you something. You want a good meal? You just plop down in that cafeteria and get some cobbler and some good cooking. It is an amazing experience. The students are friendly. They're bright and amazing. And it's open. People always, it's a welcoming community. You got to go by.
It's been really great to see Dr. Pierce Burnett really opened up the campus. Just a lot of programming has been happening there. Earth Day happens there. Even something as simple as the MLK March, which had been going to the surface lot, suddenly came on campus. It really made a difference and brought it alive.
Yep, and that's an experience. Any festival, there's been storytelling. There's been all kinds of festivals, and there's a deep commitment to the environment on that campus. And if you haven't visited, you just got to go once. Like, it's a very welcoming place. She has really changed the culture of that. It's open. It's a beautiful place. The grass always looks like carpet. So go visit. Like, there's a deep history there. East Austin is filled with living legend alumni from HT. You got to go check it out.
One thing that is just a random piece of knowledge that I picked over the years and is actually related to the next item is that Jackie Robinson was a basketball coach at HT, which I find amazing given that, we always associate him with baseball. And speaking of which, HT's baseball field, which really was the home of the Negro Leagues with the Austin Senators, is also part of the district, and I've personally experienced the increased attention and awareness in that area. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about Downsville as well.
Yes, Downsville is amazing. If you haven't been, go. There is a deep history there. That field was built on the blood, sweat, and tears of our Black citizens. It's the home to the Negro League. There's history there. And I would also say there's been art featured there. Forklift Dance Company has done amazing program in that space. But the other part of the history that people don't often know is in those stands, that's where civil rights, activities were mobilized. That's where people talked about what we wanted to see in our schools. That's where we talked about how will we mobilize our churches to be more effective stewards and community builders. So there's a lot of history there too. And a lot of times people don't talk about it being a mobilizing place where we talked about how we were going to uplift the culture and sustain ourselves. So it's an amazing stop. It is worth just walking through there. And then there's also this history around how do we keep it preserved and how do we tell that story? So there's been all.
And I know that, this past year was the 100-year anniversary. and the Negro Leagues were finally recognized as professional baseball. And so I think Kansas City started the trend of recognizing that through their rail and bus system. And I know Cap Metro is also looking at how can we really highlight that history, because we don't think of ourselves as a Major League Baseball town, but we did have a Major League Baseball team here for years operating in Downsville.
Absolutely. Just as we talk about us being the live music capital, I mean, this is rich history that I really encourage people to get curious about when you pass by, like, what is that? Like, get curious. Let Square educate you on these, pivotal historical landmarks on the East Side. So
let's see. I want to keep moving through some of these things. I think the next place we want to take you to is the Carver Museum. Can you tell us a little bit more? Because I know people drive by, but I don't know if they've ever gone into the museum and to find out why is it the George Washington Carver Museum?
First of all, there's amazing leadership there in Carrie Adams, amazing leadership, but also it is whenever I walk into the Carver, I just feel such a sense of peace. It's the intersection of culture. It's the intersection of education. It's the intersection of the arts. It's the intersection of this, this building that also has an amazing library. I've done some of my best writing in that space. And if you haven't been, there's amazing exhibits. You need to go visit. It's also a community spot. There's a theater in there. They're always, telling people to come utilize their space and their rooms to do civic meetings. Like, it's an amazing place. People probably, drive by and go, oh, that's interesting. But I would say to any place in East Austin, go in, explore, get curious. We Google everything else. Google and educate yourselves on the Carver. There's a rich history there. I really credit Carrie Adams with literally keeping the torch burning on the history. Innovative, creative, exciting. And although COVID has been, an issue, really amazing virtual programming, really amazing. So please go check it out.
Well, I was putting some things on screen a little bit before that you can schedule a tour of the district. So is that a regular service any group can do, or is it specific to certain times of year you have tours?
Anytime you want to schedule a tour, email us at info@sixsquare.org and you can schedule a tour. We ask that people, we request and would prefer groups of 10. We have Harrison Epbright, who's our resident historian and storyteller that leads our tours. We're very lucky to have him in the space. We have also coordinated, and we also have the opportunity to do a bike tour now. That's fabulous. I would explain to you up front that if you have not been on a bike in a while, I encourage you to do some practice rounds in your neighborhood before you take that tour. But you can do it now. You can do it now by bike. You can do it now by foot. And it's an amazing stop. And so all these places that you think, like, oh, I know the Victory Grill. Do you really know the Victory Grill? Like, take the tour. And so we do those year round. And encourage.
Yeah, and Smart Trips has been really happy to coordinate with you on this before. We've done a tour not only of the Victory Grill, but actually at 12th and Chacon, there's a mural that's there. But there are murals and art throughout the district, and we have coordinated with Six Square not just on a walking trip, but also a scooter tour of all of the art. We've done a bus to bike tour. Because, just driving around the district, I mean, if you've ever done East Austin Studio Tour before, you know that trying to drive when everyone else is trying to drive and get to those events is probably not your best pick, but it's been wonderful to have not only the ability to get around the district without driving, but then to have the tour guides that Six Square provides. So that way it's more than just drawings on a wall. There's a story to tell about 12th and Chacon.
And the story is deep and rich. And so every time that I hear Harrison, I learned something new, and I've been here a long time. So if I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I didn't know that, right? There's such an opportunity to learn and really understand the nuances and the beauty of the community. So absolutely, we know kind of these bigger pieces, but there's a lot of history in those walls. There's a lot of history and love that our artists have put into those murals. We need to know them. We need to uplift them. So go check it out. You can have a total staycation on the East Coast, still not learn everything there is to learn.
Well, so I'm wondering about some things that are coming up. I've got this from one of the trips that you hosted. You usually equip people with some bingo cards. But do you have some programming that's coming up that people should know about?
We do. We have two things that are coming up in June. We always, in this virtual space, we've been doing Sound Check, which is a program that really uplifts local artists. It's a music show. We just partnered with Antones and did one last week. Jackie Benson was on there. It was amazing. Our very own Shelby Alexandra sang on that program. So we've been doing those shows. To speak to your view of the bingo, we are always, when people are like, what is it that how do y'all do it? I always say we do edutainment. We're going to always you, but you're going to be entertained in the process. And so we do a lot of edutainment. We've got Beyond the Square coming up with it. We're going to do that program at the Long Center. We want people to really venture out to a variety of locations. We are really trying to promote cross-cultural collaboration. So we're doing that event, and the Beyond the Square event will be on June from the 4th through the 6th. We've got a concert. We've got Black academics. We've got all of these. We got the bike tour. We're going to unveil a mural. So again, we're doing that. Then our Juneteenth event is virtual. We're also doing it in collaboration with all these other organizations. Jump on it, and other organizations. Then there'll be a in-person component too. There's always going to be food of some sort, distributed with a COVID safety measure. But check those things out on our website. Check out our social media. We're always doing something, and it's always going to have an education component. It's always going to have an entertainment component. It's cross-cultural and cross-generational. One of the things that I love is that we're always looking to do programming across a wide range of offerings for our audience.
And so Beyond the Square is June 4th through 6th. It sounds like that's at the Long Center outside, right?
Yeah, it's at the Long Center outside.
And then Juneteenth is going to be virtual this year, not in person?
It's going to be virtual this year with some supporting partners that will be doing things on the same day in person. So there's some of it will be in person, but a lot of the component in the streaming will be virtual. And we had record numbers last year attend. And I think one of the reasons why is it's a way for you to engage and learn in a space where you might not typically show up at an event like that. But we will have, again, spoken word, concert, history, a lot of partners coming together to make that happen.
Well, and I've got contact information on the scroll below, so that way people can stay in the know about Six Square. I'm sure they can join their newsletter and find out what things are going on. And also, I encourage, if you've got a question, if you're watching out there and have a question, please do submit it. We'll put it on screen. But I did want to follow up on something that you brought up, which is that people can get involved and volunteer. And I wanted to know a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So in both of those situations, both our Beyond the Square programming as well as our Juneteenth, we are absolutely interested in volunteers. And that could be anything from helping from the production side of things to volunteering boots on the ground and supporting us in that way. And so if you're interested in that, reach out to us again at info@sixsquare.org if you're interested in volunteering. If you have groups that want to volunteer and do something meaningful, we would love to have you. And we are really always open to what is your experience? Do you have marketing experience? Okay, let's hear about that. And you can always leverage the skills that you already have in that space. We're not going to have you come and you're like, I have no experience in so-and-so. Okay, well, we want you to do this. We want to make sure that we are uplifting and leveraging the skills you have. So if you have groups or you want to volunteer as a family, we're really, supportive of that. Come see us. We are interested in, and in June, we have 2 very, significant ways that you can volunteer. But on a year-long basis, we're always looking for people to support us in our programming and the things that we are doing. So we always encourage that, always.
And again, we've been speaking with Pam Owens from 6 Square. I'm showing on screen Austin's Black Cultural District, and 6 Square refers to the 6 Square Mile District that was originally put together in 1928, maybe not under the best circumstances, but now we are highlighting the history and the cultural significance of that area, thanks to the great work that Pam Owens and her whole team at 6 Square are doing. So I'd encourage you to take a look at their website. Again, 6square.org is the place to go and find out about the programming coming up in June. We've already talked about Beyond the Square, June 4th through 6th at the Long Center, as well as online Juneteenth activities. And certainly, if you want to volunteer, there's never enough people to go around to fill all the tasks. So I want to encourage you to do that as well. Do you have any parting thoughts for people who are watching this stream either now or in the future?
Absolutely. I would just say that, I cannot let this go by without saying that this has been a really hard week. As a matter of fact, it's been a hard year. Our world has had just a cacophony of really bringing to focus disparity, social injustice, a real gap in understanding around how Black people have to show up and live in space where there is long-term racial trauma. And so what I would say is one of the best ways forward for us to really learn and understand that is to immerse ourselves in the history and the culture, to put ourselves dead in the center of what is happening and how it is happening, and get really aware of how that has not changed. We heard of a shooting this week. Our team continues to be resilient and show up in the spaces that we need to make sure that we're moving the narrative forward, but it is exhausting and tiring. And we really want to co-create a community and a future where everybody is understanding that inclusivity will not happen passively, that we have to be intentional and mindful about how we show up as community citizens, and that there is really space and room for all of us. And 6 Square at the forefront of that does that in a variety of ways, but really at the end of the day, that's our work to do. And we invite everybody to join us in doing that work.
I so agree with you. It's not just enough to celebrate, but we need to bear witness. It's not enough to just be an ally, but we need to be a force. So I'm so eager to work with you. And Smart Trips generally is really eager to build and support and celebrate our entire community. So I want to say thank you so much for highlighting that for the audience today. And also for the great work you do. It's exciting to be able to explore the city in a new way. And it's partly because of having organizations like 6 Square, where we're not just going to get on a bus to go to work, we're going to get on a bus and go celebrate. We're going to get on a bike and be with our community and learn about it. So thank you for making that possible.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Lonnie. Had a great time. Thank you for allowing us to bring voice and knowledge to what we do every day. We have really appreciated the partnership. We look forward to further partnering with y'all. Love this program, and we'll continue to tune in and encourage other people to do so.
Well, thanks again, Pam. And to everybody who's at home watching, we've been speaking with Pam Owens from 6 Square. And Smart Trips Austin is here to help you explore the city in a whole new way. So you can follow us at smarttripsaustin.org. Also, if you haven't had a chance to get a resource guide, you can go to smarttripsaustin.org and get a resource guide for how to scoot, how to ride a bike, how to go on walking trips or transit adventures around the city. We've been doing mostly individual ride information. But we expect that by the time it's back to school, we're going to be taking trips together again. So I'd encourage you to take a look at the website or follow us whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. If they come up with some other social media network, we'll be there too. So again, thank you so much, and we hope to see you out there.